Hi, my name is Dr. Brian Curtice, and I'm one of the paleontologists here at Fossil Crates, and today I'm calling the fight between number 2 seed Spinosaurus, finalist from last year, and number 7 seed Carcharodontosaurus. These two would have lived together in the same time, in the same place, and potentially could have fought in the real world. So let's see what happens here tonight. Remember, this is the voters. They've made the call out in the public. So today, normally we would fight with a river near us, but Spinosaurus opted to not rely on the river and to go straight up head to head with Carcharodontosaurus. Spinosaurus is coming in at well over a dozen feet longer and does appear to be a good ton heavier. Very portly fellow today. They square off in the Roman Colosseum, backing up, waiting for the bleating of the horn of the hadrosaur. There it is, and they're off. Spinosaurus lumbering slowly forward, Carcharodontosaurus actually picking up some speed. The Carcharodontosaurus immediately finds out that Spinosaurus' long snout is not just for looks. Spinosaurus does a quick snap. One of the advantages of the long snap is the pincher-like action, and quickly snaps at Carcharodontosaurus. Carcharodontosaurus tries to bite back, but Spinosaurus, too quick, pulls its snout away from danger. All the while, Spinosaurus kept lumbering forward, and with those massive slasher claws, has actually engaged in his first strike on Carcharodontosaurus as well. Carcharodontosaurus looks like he's going to go in and bite the side of Spinosaurus' head, but Spinosaurus keeps moving past. Carcharodontosaurus gets a mouthful of side of sail. He's not able to chomp through it because it's too tall. Quite agitated, he slashes at the sail and does rip into it. Spinosaurus' trick, though, we've seen this before last year, just gets behind and then smacks Carcharodontosaurus with the tail right in the midsection. Carcharodontosaurus is pivoting to maintain its balance, again with that long snout snapping away, repeatedly hitting at Carcharodontosaurus on its backside. Carcharodontosaurus pivots face to face, but as he's trying to move, the tail smacks him again. Carcharodontosaurus cannot withstand the tail smack, followed by the Spinosaurus twist with the big claws, putting it on the ground. And this fight does not look to go Carcharodontosaurus' way. Spinosaurus, now on top, begins slashing, its massive weight plopping down. Carcharodontosaurus is on its side, trying to kick its way out somehow. Spinosaurus is having no part of it, its mass crushing it down. The Spinosaurus repeatedly, savagely taking out just large snips of flesh, and Carcharodontosaurus is overwhelmed by the power of the claws and the bite. Carcharodontosaurus, game opponent, but just too strong is Spinosaurus. Spinosaurus proving that it deserves to move along to the next round. Hi, my name is Dr. Brian Curtice. I'm one of the paleontologists here at Fossil Crate, and we are lucky to have post-fight commentary from the incomparable Izzy Deutsch. Izzy, welcome aboard. So glad to hear you as we talk about our number 2 seed, Spinosaurus, squaring off against the number 7 seed, Carcharodontosaurus. Both of these animals live in the same place at the same time, and in the real world, they could have actually fought. So, quick recap, Spinosaurus, Carcharodontosaurus, it was a slow fight to begin with. The range of the Spinosaurus, the power, the mass, he ultimately snipped, they circled. Spinosaurus hit him with his tail, put him on the ground, and then just slashed away. And keep in mind, the public voted at well over 70% voted for Spinosaurus to win and move on. So what were your thoughts on the whole endeavor?
Well, thank you for having me here, Brian. Usually I like to go for the underdog, but how can you not love Spinosaurus? I mean, he's just massive in size, just weapons and everything. I mean, if I could give a hustle award, Carcharodontosaurus would win, but I gotta give it to Spinosaurus.
Spinosaurus made it to the finals last year, losing to our current Chomp T-Rex, and it was a brutal beatdown. I'm sure he's looking for a rematch. I'm excited to see what the public votes for on this. Thank you for participating. Glad to have you on.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you kindly. Adios. Hi, welcome. This is Fossil Crate's post-fight interview. You just got finished watching number 2 Spinosaurus absolutely put the smackdown on number 7 Carcharodontosaurus. Voters spoke. Over 75% of you believe Spinosaurus would take it out. In the fight, Spinosaurus was longer, uh, definitely heavier, but we brought Aiden Rouse, dinosaur paleontologist, in to have a conversation with us about what he thought of how this fight went down. We heard from Izzy earlier, and she was all about the Spinosaurus. Let's take it from another angle. Aiden.
So with Spinosaurus, like exactly you said, it's a big animal. Of course, it shrunk a little bit with all the new findings happening in 2014. But what a lot of people need to recognize is that even though Spinosaurus is known as more of the aquatic type of dinosaur, lots of recent research has suggested, well, it kind of was lived much more like a heron, much more on the shore. So in all reality, this is a much more terrestrial-based animal. And once you put two large animals, perhaps bigger than T-Rex, in one area, trust me, there's just unlimited opportunities for these animals to come together. And if you think about the overall morphology of Allosaurus and its anatomy, it's just a really long crocodilian. Now, as we know by looking at modern day crocodiles, they're super agile, they're super fast. Spinosaurus can take the quick hand in a second, where on the other hand, you have a Carcharodontosaur, which is big and heavy, that may not be able to maneuver quickly like Spinosaurus has. And when you're looking at the claws, I mean, those claws are absolutely massive. And in my opinion, those were used way more than just to fish. Those were used to help defend itself.
When we saw in the fight, Spinosaurus was a lumbering beast in a straight line compared to Carcharodontosaurus. But when Carcharodontosaurus ran at it, Spinosaurus kept going, smacked it with its tail. But before it even got there, it was using that long snout. It drew first blood with its spike, with its bites. And then when it ran by, it slashed. Exactly what you said. It took advantage of its snout reach and of its claw reach. And ultimately, when it hit it with the tail and disturbed its balance, it then went over and leaned on that Carcharodontosaurus and just put it to the ground. And once it was on the ground, it's over. I mean, Carcharodontosaurus tried to kick, but any of these big animals hit the floor, it's pretty much lights out.
Absolutely. And like what you said with the whole looking at the length of Spinosaurus, I mean, it has that long crocodilian-like snout. And when you're looking at the teeth, yes, those teeth may be conical, like alligators, but when you look at what alligators use those teeth for, they're used for crushing. They're used for crushing turtles. This is literally a prehistoric equivalent of perhaps crushing bone. So, and especially considering that, looking how much teeth Spinosaurus has too, it's literally around 4.5 feet of just teeth on a skull. That's it. That is nothing compared to Carcharodontosaurus.
No, and that's where paleontologists that I've spoken with, I think that over 50% of them would say a Carcharodontosaurus full size against a Spinosaurus on land, they're going to give Carcharodontosaurus the advantage because of the huge amounts of flesh that when it makes contact, it's going to take a large amount of flesh out. The Spinosaurus bite's going to hurt, it's going to cause damage, but from a sheer volume approach, Carcharodontosaurus' massive maw is just extraordinary. But we left it up to the voters, and they have spoken. And as Izzy said, who doesn't love Spinosaurus? It's got the huge scale. It's sexy. It's been a movie star. It's tough to argue.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And looking at the Spinosaurus now advances to go up against Tyrannotititan. We have the 2 versus 3 seeds, and we'll have a separate conversation about who we think is going to win this one. Another Carcharodontosaur in the way of Spinosaurus.
Well, we saw what Tyrannotititan did to Giga. Who knows? Maybe Spinosaurus may be worn out after taking on one Carcharodontosaur.
Well, we refresh them to full health, max hit points, everything in each round, so there's no damage going on.
Gotcha. But still, I mean, these are 2 very big animals. And who knows, even though there are 2 specimens of Tyrannotititan, who knows how big this animal was?
Anyone's
Some
guess.
people, from what I've seen, some people even can have it bigger than Carcharodontosaurus.
Yeah,
So
I believe that Tyranotitan is larger than Carcharodontosaurus based on the cranial element comparison, in which case Spinosaurus will have a stiff task. And Tyranotitan ran roughshod over his opponent. So we'll see.
absolutely. And when you we see this trend with weight, right? Even though, but this is kind of an outlier. We see an animal that may be slightly lighter than a big hefty Carcharodontosaurus, but who knows? Maybe Tyrannotine will use its weight again. Who knows? Who knows?
We'll see. But the star, as Izzy said, the star power of Spinosaurus going to be tough to overcome in the voters. But we'll talk about that one in a future show coming up.
Absolutely.
Hey, Aiden, thank you so much for joining us. As always, we'll be in touch.
Of course.
Thank you kindly. Adios.